Well, guess what? They're trying to push me out of the race. No! Well, let me say this as clearly as I can. I'm staying in the race. I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020.
This is my video update on this Saturday afternoon, July the 6th. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with Professor Biden. Once again, we are going to talk about Joe Biden. And it looks like his handlers, Dr. Jill, Hunter, the Biden oligarchy, they have decided that the best way forward is to show more of Biden instead of hiding him away somewhere and letting all of this storm pass. They have decided that the world needs to see and hear more of Biden so they can come to the conclusion that he is indeed ready to serve a second term as United States president, and he should not stand down. And so over the last 24 hours, we got a whole lot of Biden. Boy, did we get a whole lot of Biden. And man, it was not pretty. It was not pretty at all. And to be quite honest, there was so much Biden gaffe content that I would probably need a 2-hour video to get through it all. I mean, there was just so much of Biden messing up and his computer system crashing, the system just completely crashing, and the confusion, the mumbling, the getting lost. Wow, was this a bad idea to show more of Biden? They should have just hid him away somewhere and just hoped that something else would come up in the news cycle and everyone would forget about the past week. But nope, they said, let's get Biden out there. Let's get him talking. Let's get him giving speeches. And and why did you guys do this? Oh boy, this is just torture. This is torture of the man. So where to begin? Where should we begin? I don't know, maybe the strategy for those people that are supporting Biden to remain in the race, maybe their strategy is to just desensitize everyone, saturate the market or flood the market with Biden mess-ups, so that after a couple of weeks of just seeing all of the confusion, everyone just gets desensitized to it and they move on. They just say whatever. They just move on to the next news story. I don't know, maybe that's the strategy.
Oh, sure I had my thing, but I was also doing a hell of a lot of other things, like wars around the world.
Enter Stephanopoulos to give an interview to Joe Biden and to rescue Biden. Stephanopoulos meets Bidenopoulos.
Can you serve effectively for the next 4 years?
George, I'm the guy that put NATO together, the future. No one thought I could expand it. I'm the guy that shut Putin down. No one thought could happen. I'm the guy that put together the South Pacific Initiative with AUKUS. I'm the guy that got 50 nations, out, not only in Europe, outside of Europe as well, to help Ukraine. I'm the guy that got Japanese to expand their budget.
Jack Posobiec put out a tweet in response to Biden's admission that he was the guy that expanded NATO, that grew NATO And this is what Posobiec put out on Twitter X. Biden admits he pushed to expand NATO. This is specifically why Putin has started the war. Biden forgot he wasn't supposed to say that part. True. Very true.
You can be convinced that you cannot defeat Donald Trump will you stand down?
It depends if the Lord Almighty comes out and tells me that, I might do that.
Just hire Morgan Freeman. He's got the voice that Hollywood uses whenever they want to portray God speaking. They call up Morgan Freeman. He can get on the White House loudspeaker and say, Joe, this is God speaking. And Biden would be in the Oval Office. What? Is that you, God? Yes, Joe, this is God. It's time. It's time to step down and to let Kamala be president of the United States. You've done well, Joe Biden. Now you can rest. Yes, God. Thank you, God. I will step down. Problem solved. Oh, boy. Check out this tweet from Oilfield Rando. Think about how relentlessly Twitter would be suppressing Biden videos right now if the Musk hadn't bought it. What an excellent point. What an excellent freaking point. Can you imagine if Twitter was still under the control of Dorsey and all of these guys? Anyone that would be criticizing Biden or anyone that would be posting videos of Biden's gaffes and system crashes would be getting canceled on Twitter X, on Twitter. It would still be called Twitter. Now you know why they wanted to remove Musk, to destroy Musk after he bought Twitter. So there's going to be a NATO summit in about 4 days in the United States, and Biden is going to attend this NATO summit as president of the United States and host of all the NATO countries. And the reports are that Biden is going to give a whole lot of stuff to Zelensky. Not NATO membership, but whatever he can give to Zelensky, he's going to give him outside of membership into NATO. Biden will meet with Zelensky and the leaders of countries that have signed security agreements with Ukraine at the NATO summit in Washington, according to a U.S. official. In addition, the United States at the NATO summit will announce new steps to strengthen Ukraine's air defense systems and its military potential for the future. So the other day, the Biden White House approved, I believe, $150 million in a new military package for Ukraine. Obviously, Biden is not approving this. Obviously, Biden has no idea what's going on. Who's approving all of this military equipment and money to Ukraine? Who has been approving all of the money and military equipment to Ukraine over the past couple of years? Who knows? It hasn't been Biden. Sullivan, Blinken, Austin. I don't know. Maybe at one point in time it was Newland. Maybe at one point in time it was Milley. Maybe Hunter. Maybe Hunter is the guy behind the guy behind the guy. It's Hunter Biden. And he's upset about Putin ruining his Burisma gig. And so this is all about revenge for Hunter Biden. He was making $80,000 a month. And God knows what else he was getting from his stint as a board member of Burisma in Ukraine. So maybe Biden is the guy behind Sullivan and the guy behind Blinken and Austin, and he's the one that's really running the Ukraine project. It's definitely not Joe Biden. The Washington Post is reporting that European leaders, NATO member states, they are concerned with Biden's accelerated aging. Actually, the Washington Post said that European leaders are stunned. They're stunned with the sudden accelerated aging of Biden. U.S. President Joe Biden has been displaying worrying signs of accelerated aging in recent months, and these changes shocked European leaders who met him at the Group of Seven G7 summit in Italy last month, the Washington Post reported on Friday. The outlet cited 21 people who spoke on condition of anonymity. Yeah, right. The European leaders, they just now realized that Biden has some cognitive issues. Just the G7 meeting, just a couple of weeks ago, it finally hit them that Biden has cognitive issues. Over the past 3 years, they had no idea. They had no idea that Biden was not altogether up there. Nope. They couldn't see a thing wrong with Biden. But then suddenly at the G7 meeting, wow, he's really aged. His aging has accelerated. We're concerned. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Things are bad in the United States. Things are bad for the Biden White House, and things look bad for the Biden White House, right? All the lies are being exposed. But what about the collective West leaders? How bad does this look if you're a leader of the collective West? The fact that you listened to this man, you followed this man, Joe Biden, into Project Ukraine. You actually trusted this guy to lead you in a war against Russia. That looks really bad. So anyway, that's the article from the Washington Post. And now let's move on to the other big story for the day. And that is Orban in Moscow. His trip to Moscow. Orban engaging in something that is very strange, very foreign for the collective West leadership. Something that they've never done or seen before. Orban is doing it. And it's something called diplomacy. And trying to find peace. The NATO leaders and the EU leaders, they're just completely shocked. They're taken aback at the moves that Orban is making. What is this thing that Orban is doing? What is this diplomacy thing that Orban is up to? How dare Orban travel to Kiev and then travel to Moscow to try and broker a ceasefire and find a peaceful solution to the conflict in Ukraine? How dare he? That is what the EU is saying. That is what NATO is saying. Stoltenberg, no way do we want peace. No, how dare Orban go and visit Russia? How dare he? Whatever Orban says, Stoltenberg, in his statement, whatever Orban says and does, he's doing not on behalf of NATO. He does not represent NATO. Stoltenberg felt that he had to come out and say that, right? Orban is not representing NATO. God forbid NATO search for a peaceful outcome to this proxy war that they're engaged in. That was Stoltenberg's statement. The EU is saying the same thing. Orban does not represent the European Union. Outgoing Foreign Minister Borrell, who will soon be replaced by Kaja Kallas. he said that Orban's visit to Moscow falls exclusively in the bilateral relations between Hungary and Russia. And he said that Orban does not negotiate or speak on behalf of the European Union. That's Jungle Joseph Borrell. For which Orban replied, "This is precisely the Brazilian bureaucratic nonsense that yielded no result in finding a way to peace in the Russia-Ukraine war. If we want to end the war, we need a political approach instead of a bureaucratic one." 100%. The problem, Mr. Prime Minister Orban, is that the EU is a bureaucratic institution. That's what they are, a bunch of bureaucrats. They have no idea how to engage in diplomacy or what diplomacy is or how it works. So their solution is always a bureaucratic solution that is dictated by the globalist establishment, by the United States establishment, the military-industrial complex. That is who they are getting their orders from, the bureaucrats in Brussels. And their orders are for more war and more escalation. That is why Orban's trip to Moscow is freaking them out. Because Orban, he broke a big taboo by traveling to Moscow. A huge taboo has been broken. You had a collective West leader, a NATO member state, a leader of a NATO member state, a leader of an EU member state, visit Russia and meet with Putin. That's huge. That is huge. And Robert Fico, he gave his first live speech, his first appearance since he was shot, since they tried to assassinate him. I don't know who they are. I think we all have our suspicions who they are that tried to take out Fico, but the guy made it. The guy made it, and he looks good. Looks like he's recovering really well. And he spoke to an audience that was at an event celebrating the monks Methodios and Cyril, the Cyrillic alphabet. And Fico said that he would, if he could, he would be joining Orban on the trip to Russia so that they can search for a ceasefire and peace. That is what Fico said. So Orban, he's putting himself in a very good position. I really feel like Orban is making a very clever political play here, because he understands that the collective West is losing this conflict. He understands that the EU is being demolished from this conflict, from the support that it's been giving to Ukraine in this war. And Orban is positioning himself as the leader in the collective West who tried to find peace, who tried to stop the conflict, stop the suffering and the killing, and he was denied by the EU bureaucrats. And so when everything falls apart in the collective West, Orban's going to be okay. He's going to be okay with his people in Hungary. He's going to be okay around the world. He'll be seen as the one man, him and Fico, the two guys, him and Fico, who tried to find a peaceful solution. But instead, Europe chose disintegration, demilitarization, deindustrialization. I did everything I could. That's what Orban is going to say. I did everything I could. I used Hungary's 6 months as president of the council to try and find peace, to save Ukraine, to save the EU, to save Europe. But the only thing that I got was more hatred and more anger from the EU establishment, the collective West establishment. They hated me even more because I was looking for peace. That's what Orban's going to be able to say, and this is a smart move from Orban. It's not only a smart move, it shows that Orban cares. He cares about the people that are dying. He cares about the people that are being affected from the economic collapse. It shows that he cares. Anyway, that is the news about Orban. Putin said that he's going to take Orban's initiative seriously. Russia's response to this shuttle diplomacy from Orban was that they're going to seriously study and consider everything that Orban said during the meetings. They're taking Orban's trip as a positive, and they're going to listen to what he has to say. Ukraine's response to all of this was anger. Orban did not get permission to travel to Russia. That's what the Zelensky regime actually said. How dare he go to Russia without our permission? As if Viktor Orban needs Zelensky's permission to travel to Russia. So Russia, Putin, they're saying, yes, we want peace. Yes, we're going to listen to you, Prime Minister of Hungary. We're going to take everything you said seriously and study everything that you said. And then you have Zelensky's reaction and Ukraine's reaction, which is, how dare you travel to Russia? Who are the adults? Who exactly are the adults? Not hard to figure out. And Putin once again said that a way to get to a ceasefire, a way to get to a complete solution, not even a ceasefire. Putin said that what he wants, what Russia wants, is a complete solution to Ukraine and to Europe's security architecture. Not a freeze, none of that stuff. He wants a solution. And he said that the way to begin negotiations for a complete solution is for the Zelensky regime to remove its military permanently from Donetsk, Lugansk, Zaporozhye, and Kherson. Putin said if Ukraine does that, then we're at the beginnings of getting to a real solution to this entire conflict. For which I say, jump on it, Collective West. Jump on the opportunity. Tell Putin, yes. Yes, we will do that. That's what someone smart would do. That's what smart leadership would do. But nope, they're not going to do that. They're going to do the exact opposite. They're going to try to escalate more and more. We haven't seen drones in the Black Sea in I believe 12 or 13 days. But we are now getting reports that we do have American drone activity now in the Black Sea area. I'm not sure how accurate these reports are, but that's what's coming out. For 13 days, nothing. And now, following Orban's trip to Russia, we're getting drone activity, which could signal that NATO and the Zelensky regime, they could be up to something when the drones are flying around. So I think that's everything connected with Orban. I believe he went to Azerbaijan after his trip to Moscow. But let's see how we're doing on time. Yeah, let's wrap this video up. Let's do one more story and talk about about Amanpour's interview with Marine Le Pen. And boy, did Marine Le Pen demolish Christian Amanpour. Yeah, they sent in Amanpour to interview Le Pen to try and derail Le Pen a couple of days before, actually one day before the second round of the elections in France, and it did not work. Marine Le Pen was ready, and she answered all of Amanpour's questions, and she handled all of Amanpour's snarky, sneaky comments, and Amanpour came out of this interview looking really, really bad. So two questions stood out from Amanpour to Le Pen. Christian Amanpour, international correspondent and very sophisticated journalist. I'm Christian Amanpour. And I'm going to ask you, Marine Le Pen, what do you say about your party being far right? That's my question to you, Marine Le Pen, as Christian Amanpour, international correspondent and a very sophisticated journalist. And that was her question. What do you say about National Rally being far right? And Marine Le Pen did not like that question from Amanpour. She said that far right is something that's used in the United States, a pejorative term to demonize. That demonizes her party. She said that her party, that National Rally, is, I believe she said, it has positions which could be considered center left and center right. And she said, we're not far right. Don't call us far right. And Christian Amanpour actually even told Le Pen, you're kidding me. That's what she said, you're kidding me, right? When Le Pen did not take kindly to being classified as far right.
First of all, I strongly dispute the term far right, which in your country refers to small groups that are extremely radical and violent. If you like, the equivalent...
You don't think you're far right?
The equivalent of what we are in the United States is between the center-right and the center-left with regards to ideas. So I think this...
You're kidding me, right?
And Amanpour also asked Le Pen about Project Ukraine, and if she gets into government, what's going to be their position with Project Ukraine. And Le Pen said that France has two red lines. The first red line is no French troops in Ukraine. And the second red line is that French weapons will not be used to hit pre-2014 Russian territory. She said those are her two red lines. Those are France's two red lines, because if those red lines are crossed, then it would mean that France is a party to the conflict and is at war with Russia. That is what Le Pen said to Christian Amanpour's questions regarding Project Ukraine. Christian Amanpour, sophisticated journalist who got demolished by Marine Le Pen. She did not come out of this interview looking good at all, Amanpour. So that was that. And final news topic, very quick. Iran has a new president, Masoud Pezeshkian. He was elected president yesterday, and from what I understand, he's a type of reformer, a type of reform president, I think he's a former heart surgeon, and he's not going to change any of the foreign policy, from what I read. He's going to keep Iran on course for more integration into the multipolar world, but he is seen as more of a reform type of president. We'll see. But Iran has a new president. Let's do some clown worlds. And the first clown world comes from the New York Times, which put out an article with the title, "Does America Need a President?" question mark, and a very interesting cartoon image that they used for this article. No head, no hands. Does America need a president? Does America really need a president? Really? Forget about Joe Biden. Who cares? Who cares if Joe Biden stumbles and mumbles and messes up and says dumb stuff? Who cares? If he's only awake from 10 to 4 and at 8 p.m. he needs to finish up whatever work he has and goes to sleep, who cares? Because does America really need a president? We went from these elections are about saving America's democracy. That was what the Democrats were telling us, right? That's what Joe Biden was telling us. This is all about democracy. Democracy's on the ballot. This is about saving our democracy. We went from saving our democracy to do we really need a president? All in 1 week. That's coming from the New York Times. Do we really need elections? Do we really need to have a vote? That's coming next. Do we really need free speech? I think they've already run an article saying, do we really need free speech? So I think they've already run that article. But yeah, that's from the New York Times. And finally, Zelensky curse update, UK elections. Yesterday, I said that Reform Party had secured 13 seats. That was wrong. I was reading the exit polls. Sometimes if I do the videos in the morning or midday, I may have older information, and I should have rechecked the numbers, but I just kind of had the exit poll numbers bookmarked. But Reform, when I was recording the video, had 4 seats, and from what I understand, they gained another seat, so that put them at 5 seats, and I read that they could be gaining another seat, perhaps one more seat, which could take them to 6. But right now they have 5 seats. So that was a mistake that I made yesterday as I was reading from the exit polls. But a big day in Zelensky curses, a very big day in Zelensky curses. In the UK, we had Rishi Sunak, no longer prime minister. Grant Shapps, the defense minister, gone. He lost his seat. And this guy was a huge warmonger. But from what I understand, the new defense minister is an even bigger warmonger than Grant Shapps. So no improvement there. But Grant Shapps has been Zelensky cursed. And Liz Truss. Liz Truss was also Zelensky cursed. That's right. The prime minister for 1 month, Liz Truss, she lost her seat as well. And yes, she did meet with Zelensky, and she did shake Zelensky's hand. I don't think she hugged Zelensky, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe she did hug Zelensky. But she was also Zelensky cursed. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch. Go to the Reverse Gear shop, pick up some Reverse Gear merchandise as well. Let me cross over. And like this video, share this video. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Take care.